What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 23 of Skins in the Game. And we have a fun episode today. Tough loss on Sunday. How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
How are you doing? We're talking about
Not too
football
bad.
season.
Not too bad.
still-
Sorry, I forgot to close my door.
I'm still in first place in my. We'll go close it.
I
Nobody's-
did.
no.
I just did.
Oh, but hey, I'm still in first place in my fantasy pick'em league, even though I only got 6 right this week, and I hit on a Otis bet, so I'm still in second place in that. So all in all, good weekend.
Hey, I'm 2-2 in all my fantasy leagues, so I am all of average. And I did not hit my Otis bet, so we're not looking good in the family pool.
Well, you're only 2-2 because you don't have to play your mother-in-law every week.
Yeah, my mother-in-law beat me 2 weeks ago. But I thought I put that behind me, but you keep bringing it up, so there's that.
Well, that's what friends are for.
That's right. Awesome. All right. Well, we have a Ravens game to go over.
Yes, we do.
What were your feelings about the Ravens game?
Well, I got my prediction. If you remember last week, you were like, "Oh, you didn't even want to predict the score," and I said, "My prediction is that we will still be in the game in the second half," and we went into the second half 21-10. I thought they moved the ball well. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do, but all in all, I don't think it was an embarrassment. They didn't blow us out like a lot of people thought they were going to, and like I said, I felt like there was some positive takeaways from it, and there was several times watching the game where I basically screamed at the screen, the TV screen, saying, "You can't do that." But anyway, what did you think about it?
Well, I agree in a sense of we didn't look terrible, right? Like, there's obviously you don't look good when you play one of the best teams in the league, and unfortunately, that's what the Ravens are. They're at least I would say a top 3 team, maybe even a top 2 team right now. Their only loss comes to who I believe is the number 1 team in the NFL, and they were only down 7 into the fourth quarter against that team, and they were not playing well. And even when they weren't playing well against Kansas City, they were still only down 7 in the fourth quarter. So I don't necessarily hate how we played. There were some questionable decisions, I thought, but Rivera kind of went over those, so I don't hate him for those now either. But there's definitely a lot of stuff to work on. But I have it all written down here. So you ready to go through it?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll start with the good. I am loving.
This should be a short segment. No,
Yeah, we only have a couple things good here, but I love what I'm seeing from Antonio Gibson. He had
oh my God, 100%.
13 carries, 46 yards, and a touchdown, 4 catches for 82 yards. So 126 scrimmage yards against a really tough Ravens defense. So I'm very happy to see that. I have Terry McLaurin, 10 catches, 118 yards against these DBs. Not mad about that at all.
That's another stellar, awesome.
Yep.
100%.
Kendall Fuller had 2 picks on the day, including a very important one right before half to get us 3 points before half. It ended up not meaning anything, but at the same time, it did mean something because we could have got 3 points before the half anyway. But then with that, that's all. That's awesome that we get those 3 points. And the last good I have is we continue to do really well in the penalty department. Yeah. Only 2 penalties for 20 yards against us on Sunday. Against this team that could cause a lot of havoc and make you question a lot of things and make you false start or do some stuff like that. We remained true and we did pretty darn good against the penalties.
Well, and I will say this. I thought that the refs were letting a lot go. I don't know what the count is offhand, but something tells me the Ravens didn't get a whole lot of penalties. I mean, I know they got a couple false starts, if I remember correctly, but I didn't see a lot of holding calls so I'm trying to see if I could, what did the Ravens do in comparison to that? mean, I'm not arguing your point, but I also think it has something to do with the fact that I don't think the refs, and not just in that game, I think in a number of games I watched, that the refs were kind of keeping the whistle or the flag in their pocket.
That's probably fair. How many penalties did the Ravens have? I did not write that down. So you might be right as far as an overall. They had 5 penalties for 30 yards. So yeah, it wasn't a lot of penalties for either team. So that might be a fair assessment that they weren't calling as many as maybe they should have. But I don't mind it. Whatever. It's the end result at the end of the day. You know, like you're not giving the reason for the refs to call a bunch of penalties on you. So I will take that.
And 100% that the Redskins, even on a day where the refs are trying to keep the flags in their pockets, the Redskins would find a way to have them pull it out and still get 10 penalties. But I did want to add at least one other good that I didn't realize this until after the fact. I was listening to Sports Talk, and they said that the Redskins actually held the time of possession advantage at the end of the first half. It was like 17-13 or 16. It wasn't by much, but the offense had the ball more than the Ravens did in the first half. So I just thought that may not mean much, but
well, it doesn't mean much when you're down 21-10, you know, because when they score a 50-yard touchdown run on third down, you know, you get a score quick. But also we got that turnover fumble that gave them short field position. So we're gonna go through all that. I actually didn't have. I didn't write down a bunch of bad this week. I kind of just wanted to go over some general themes because I didn't expect much coming into this game because of the opponent that we're going into. I knew how good these guys are, so I didn't necessarily think we were going to have a great day. So I don't necessarily want to go through the bad because it was kind of some of it was expected. So I'm just going to continue to go on through some general themes of the day. And offensively, Haskins actually did not really play poorly, in my opinion, especially in the first half when it mattered, right? You have the first drive, we were moving the ball, and we just decide not to block the Ravens' highest paid player in Matthew Judon, and it was an easy sack on Haskins. Morgan Moses just collapses the line. There's no tight end out there. There's nobody to block this dude, and he just runs free right at Dwayne Haskins. Did Dwayne Haskins call the wrong adjustment at the line, or was it on Haskins? I don't read his mind, and I don't know what he was saying. But at the same time, you would think a good right tackle in Morgan Moses is not just going to let Matthew Judon, arguably their best defensive lineman, just run free at the quarterback. That's pretty ridiculous. So that I don't really blame that one on him. Second drive is a fumble by the running back. He got it to the running back in the flat, and Marlon Humphrey, their DB, made a great strip on the ball on J.D. McKissick. Not his fault. Yep. Third drive, he did throw it too low, and it got batted for Logan Thomas, so that one's on him. Fourth drive, he gets us into field goal range, but we miss a 54-yard field goal. So
I'm shocked that Hopkins missed a 54.
You know, you got to make that. That's a 7-3 game at that point. Instead, it's 7-0, and then we give them short field position because it was such a long field goal. They start at the 50, and they end up getting a touchdown, and we're down 14-10, or 14-0 rather. Right. So that's not good. Fifth drive, we come down and score a touchdown. Awesome. So that puts us at 14-7. Should have been 14-10, but at worst, we may be able to get a stop. Maybe we could be up 10-7 right now. But instead, now we're 14-7. Sixth drive, on second and 7, we had a long developing play, and our O-line just got destroyed, and we ended up taking a big sack. And, you know, you'd like to maybe think that Haskins can get rid of it in some way, but at the same time, he really had no chance anywhere to go with it. He was within 3 seconds, he's getting hit in the face. Right up the middle.
And the flip side of that is if he tries to throw it away and it's an interception, then you're saying he should have eaten it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really blame him. As I said, you would like for him to be able to get rid of it because there was nobody in the flats. You had a long developing play, so you had 3 receivers going downfield, and you actually did have Terry McLaurin open, but he had no time to find him. But you had maybe you could throw in his direction and get rid of the ball, and there's nobody there to pick it off. You would have to throw it like a complete up-in-the-air duck for them to have time to get underneath it. But, I'm not going to beat him up about it. It's really the offensive line. And it was actually a kind of a really cool defensive setup because they come with a blitz. And Ryan Switzer, Wes Switzer, our right guard, he kind of gets pinched by Campbell. So he's kind of having to ends up being blocking two guys. So Calais Campbell kind of acts like he's just going to hit Switzer, which he does. But then he just comes off Switzer after because you think there's going to be a looping lineman. Nope, he just hits him and then goes right to the quarterback. And it was really an interesting defensive line play design by the Ravens defense that kind of confused our offensive line. And it was more of a good play rather than bad offensive line play, I think, in my opinion. I think it was a really good defensive play by the Ravens.
Yeah, I get that.
Seventh drive, we should have got a field goal here. No, sorry. We could have got more points. We did get a field goal. That was after the Kendall Fuller interception. And J.D. McKissick is an idiot. Get out of bounds. He's running on the sideline, and for some reason he avoids the out of bounds line almost. It's like he almost tries to not touch the out of bounds. Get out of bounds. It's only 30 seconds left. We have 2 timeouts. We could potentially score a touchdown here. We're at the 35-yard line. But instead, we have to kill a timeout, and then we end up taking a sack and take another. No, wait, I don't think actually that was a sack. But anyway, we run a stupid play after that to give it to J.D. McKissick, where he has no chance to get out of bounds, and we end up having to take our second timeout, and we just settle for a field goal. But the first play,
yet another case of not knowing the situational football, of knowing what position you're in, and the good teams, you just see them do it mindlessly. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm out of bounds. There's no I agree with it. It's just not being aware in this a few times in this game where I felt that there was not situational awareness, and it's frustrating.
Yep, for sure. So we go into the half down 21-10, like you said, and then after half they get the ball first and they come down and score a touchdown. We're down 28-10. You put Haskins in a hole, and he really just can't climb out of it. Because we're going against a really good defense, we don't have a chance to run the ball anymore. So it's tough. I didn't really grade too much of the second half. I watched it a little bit, but I didn't go through it play by play to see how Haskins did the second half per se. It did have that notable play. I'm sure that you've heard about this 4th and 13 or 4th and goal from the 13. I'm going to go over that after the defense.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Deal.
Yeah, you can go through it.
So, switching to the defense, especially in the first half, the defense didn't play all that terribly. Okay? It doesn't look good to have 31 points against your defense. Sounds really, really, really bad. But overall, I don't think they actually played that bad. So, let's go over this. First touchdown, they kind of made Lamar have to be great. And the truth is he was. Okay? Lamar is a really great quarterback. And he did great things on Sunday to score touchdowns. So, the first touchdown, you have a rollout by Lamar, and he's able to run away from the linebacker and makes a tough throw to an open Marquise Brown that gets him to the 1-yard line, and they end up running it in. But that was a third down play that you would hopefully get a stop. We get some pressure on him, and he's just able to roll out and run away from our backers because he's just that fast, and he makes a throw on the run, which was kind of a broken play. It's hard to ask the DBs to guard them for 4, 5, 6 seconds. So it's just Lamar being really, really good. Second touchdown is that beautiful TD run by Lamar. All right. And my initial thought when watching this run was that's what Lamar does. And he makes you he just beats you with his legs, and it's hard to account for the quarterback and everything, right? But I went back and watched this play. And this is a product of not having Chase Young. Okay? Because now Ryan Kerrigan has to be your starter, and you don't play a defensive lineman every single play, so on third down you bring in Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson just runs upfield, doesn't get blocked, but doesn't run either to the running back or the quarterback. He almost actually tries to hit the offensive lineman, the pulling guard, and the guard just is like, well, you're not going for the quarterback, so I'm not going to touch you. So he just olays him, and Ryan Anderson doesn't get touched by anybody, and he doesn't tackle anybody. And he was the guy that's supposed to tackle Lamar. Like, he was the guy that was supposed to be on Lamar because you had Pierre Lewis running out for the back, right? And so he fakes the pitch to the back, and of course Pierre Lewis's job is to go for the back. But Ryan Anderson's job is to tackle Lamar, which he should have been able to tackle him for a loss, but he just looks absolutely silly on the play. And the rest is history. You know, the stiff arm on Landon Collins. You know, everybody's like, oh, Landon Collins needs to get benched or needs to get traded because he got stiff armed by Lamar. Lamar does that to everybody. Lamar's a beast.
No, Lamar is very good at the stiff arm.
Yeah, I mean, so he ran away from him.
Yeah.
Third touchdown comes off a fake punt. 4th and 9, okay? Everyone knew it was going to be a fake punt. I said it was going to be a fake punt. Another guy that I was with said it was going to be a fake punt. The announcer said it was going to be a fake punt. Everyone knew it was going to be a fake punt except for Fabian Moreau, the one guy that matters. And Miles Boykin, who's a legit receiver, is out there on punt return or punt team, and he runs a stop route at 10, 11 yards and gets a first down easy because apparently Sam Coach is now 7 for 7 on 4th downs. He's, I guess, converted it every single time they've called a fake. So good for him.
Well, and this is the second situational football issue that I have with players not understanding that, okay, they're in our territory, like the 46 or the 47, they're in our territory and they're punting. It's 4th and 9. Okay, so what is going to be the result of the punt? Let's say they punt. Okay, they might get us pinned down, which is what they're going to try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might kick it into the end zone. But ultimately, it's most likely what they're going to try to do is coffin corner it to where no one gets a return at all. And they're either going to get it to go out of bounds at some point and try to pin us as deep as we can. So beating the punt team's, what do they call it? Gunner. Thank you. I was going to say runner, but I knew that wasn't right. So beating the gunner to the goal line doesn't matter. There's not unless the punter screws up dramatically, there is not going to be a return. And especially with the Ravens, they could take a 5-yard penalty and he could still try to get it inside the 5. They're not giving the return man the chance. So understand that the result of this punt, what they're hoping is to kick it out of bounds as close to the goal line as they can. Worst case, they give it to you on the 20. So therefore, you run with the gunner. You're not trying to beat him to a point. If they're kicking it from their goal line, then yes, you're trying to beat him to a point because you want to give your guy a chance to return it.
Mm-hmm.
And Fabian
That's
Moreau
a great point. That's a great point. I didn't think about that per se. I knew that he had to do something like you have to know that it's a potential fake punt, but even if you don't think it's going to be a fake punt, there's no reason you should be playing it as if you're trying to beat him down the field and stop him from getting the tackle.
Right.
Because it's
him to a point to make a block. What are you blocking? Nothing.
Yeah, there's no reason to block. So that's a great point. Fair enough. That's completely true. 100%. Right. But yeah, it really hurt. That obviously it hurt us extremely bad. And then the TD comes on a 3rd down. We actually do again get pressure on Lamar, but he's able to run away from it, rolls out, and Mark Andrews comes all the way across from the other side of the field at the pylon, and he makes a fantastic throw where only Mark Andrews can catch it, and Mark Andrews comes down with it. Another really just an awesome play by Lamar and Mark Andrews. So tough one, and that's a 3rd and 7. So the last one I'm going to go over is the fourth touchdown, which oh shoot, no, the fourth. I'm so confused. What did I write here? No, okay, 4th touchdown. I wrote it comes off the fake punt again, but no, that was the early. Sorry. Okay, the 4th one is just a beautiful throw by Lamar, but it was actually earlier in that drive that Lamar on a 3rd down, they call a play where they have a bunch of hitches. I think it's like a 3rd and 5, and you had a running back in the flats, and he pump fakes to his running back, this is something that I hope Haskins takes away, maybe watching some Lamar. He pump fakes to the running back, the safety Cameron Curl, who's guarding Marquise Brown pretty well, I might add, comes off Brown off the pump fake to try to come up and make a play on the running back. But that was a pump fake, and it left Marquise Brown wide open for a first down, and he lasers it in between 3 defenders. But he threw him open with that pump fake. He was not open until he made that pump fake. That kept the drive alive, and then he makes a beam throw to Mark Andrews, who, honestly, Darby should have been there to help guard Mark Andrews or Troy Apke. Either one of them should have been there, but they left him open, and it was a great throw by Lamar. So those were the low lights of the defense. But overall, I think we played them pretty tough. You know, as I said, we had them at a 4th and 9. We made them punt quite a bit. Really, it was the short fields. We only let them go long on the first drive coming out of the third quarter, but all of their other touchdowns came off of short fields. So good for them. They're really good offensive team. We didn't have our best player in Chase Young. We didn't have Matt Ioannidis as well. So Ryan Anderson sees a lot more of the field, and that hurts us. But
and let me before we move on, these are not necessarily highlights or lowlights, but just kind of interesting factoids that Dwayne Haskins outthrew yardage-wise. Of course, he outthrew by more than twice as many passes. But Lamar Jackson had 193 yards passing. Dwayne Haskins actually had 314 yards. Jackson had an interception. Dwayne did not. The other thing I thought was interesting is while they were comparable in total yards gained, I think the Redskins were within, I'm trying to do the math here. So it was like 350 to 340 something. So they were very close on total yards gained. And if you take away the 50-yard long Lamar Jackson, and I know you can't do that, but to make a point that if you take away the 50-yard long, the Redskins held their rushing to 94 yards. So while not, and it was by committee. I mean, I'm looking at the stats now on ESPN to give credit where credit's due that, again, take away that long, and Gus Edwards had 38 yards, Mark Ingram had 34, and then you had a couple other guys. Yeah. So you think comparable in yards gained, in passing yards, excuse me. And if you take away if you didn't have to have Ryan Anderson in there, chances are Lamar Jackson doesn't make that run. And of course, now you have to consider if the situation was different, how would they have played differently? But it wasn't like, okay, they were up by a bunch of points and they were running the ball down our throat. It wasn't really happening that way. So I thought that was, like I said, not necessarily highlights, but again, I think it falls into the category of interesting and goes to my point earlier that I didn't feel like the Redskins embarrassed themselves by any means in this game.
No, we just played a really tough team. All right, let's get to a little bit of comments before I go over this notable play that a lot of Redskins fans were talking about. All right. Spoiled FM Gaming, welcome. He wants to be called GM Spoiled now because he wants to make all the moves for all the teams. He said, "Sup guys, hope you're doing well. We are, and hope you guys are doing well tonight as well." Chrissy said, "My man Tim is back. Tim with a nice fresh cut. Thank you. My wife did it, so she'd be very glad you noticed."
By the way, I'm overdue for the cut. So
well, yeah, you should have seen me last night. Yeah, I was brutal. Slater was looking at me like, "You need a haircut." No, man, Falcons are really burning their jerseys. Wow, yeah, they're 0-4, not looking good. Spoiler FM Gaming.
Yeah, and Houston fired. And I don't know if you're covering this later, but Houston fired their coach.
I know they should have fired him prior. He should have been fired.
Well, he's taken them to 2 division titles. Has gone into the playoffs. I mean, that I don't,
Yeah, well, that all got erased when he traded away their best player in DeAndre Hopkins for a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you trade away your quarterback's number 1 option. And yeah, you're not going to get looked down. Yeah, and then start 0-4. Yeah, okay.
I was going to say if you did that and won, okay, but yeah, you can't do that and then
for real. So Spoiled FM Gang, look on the good side. It's better to be a Redskins fan than a Falcons fan. Wow, I can't stop taking shots at Atlanta. I need help. He's a Saints fan. So that's why he loves to take shots at a division rival in the
I get it.
Falcons. Mike
Amusing.
Pryor,
I'll
fake
give him
punts
credit for that.
because they don't respect us. You know, Ravens will do that kind of stuff. They take a lot of chances. John Harbaugh is a really, really good coach. So, you know, and they were in a perfect position to do it. They were on our side of the field. It was like a 47, 48-yard. Like, you don't even put your defense in that horrible of a spot if you fail. So it's they trust their defense, and it's tough.
Yeah, I don't take that as a disrespectful move as much as a let's see if we can catch them off guard kind of move. And they would have done that. I think they would have done that against, and I say the Patriots, maybe not the Patriots, because Bill Belichick would not have let his team.
The Chiefs. They would have taken. They would have taken chances like that against. That's a playoff move. You know, they would do that in a playoff game.
Right, and that's saying, hey, I believe in my defense. I'm going to see if it's just like the onside kick early in the game when it's like, let's catch them off guard and see if and then when it works, you're brilliant. And when it doesn't work, it's like, what the hell are you thinking? So, you know, if Moreau had played it correctly and it was incomplete, then people would have been questioning Harbaugh. Well, not because they would have won, so they wouldn't have cared. But anyway.
For sure.
Go ahead.
All right. Last one is spoiled infant giving. To be honest, y'all probably going to destroy the Cowboys defense. Well, everyone else is. So why not us? You know, come on. Give us a shot. You know, we'll have them in 3 weeks. We have the Giants. First we have the Rams, then we have the Giants, then we have the Cowboys. So we'll have them in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into the Rams game, I just want to give a quick NFC East update. We just spoke about the Cowboys a little bit. Well, they go down to the Browns in a shootout, 49-38. Oh, shoot, before I want to go there, I wanted to go to that play. I'm sorry. Jumped ahead a little bit. I apologize.
Yeah, get your stuff together, man. We got an
audience. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you're right. Here we go. So, there is one more thing about this game that I wanted to go over because it was a big deal in the Redskins Facebook pages that I follow, and I'm sure around the league. And because Ron Rivera basically came out and said why he went for it from 4th and goal on the 13 was to see what Haskins' situational awareness was like and see what he would do in that spot. And he basically said the ball needs to go in the end zone or in a spot to get to the end zone. So tough situation coming because now a lot of the fans are now crapping on Haskins, right? Because he didn't make the right play. And I just wanted to go over that play specifically, so I'm going to go into it with detail, just that one play. You ready?
Go ahead.
All right. So
we'll let you know if it's worth it.
Sounds good. So 4th and goal from the 13. First off, we should have kicked the field goal. Okay? That would have put us within 15 points. We could have scored 2 touchdowns and got a 2-point conversion to potentially tie this game. But I knew we weren't going to win this game anyway, so I was upset at the time. I was saying we should kick the field goal. But hearing that he was trying to test Haskins, it takes it off a little bit from me. But if this is it is a real game situation. But if we were trying to win this year, I would be very upset that we did not kick the field goal. But that's what we should have done. Okay, so here is the play. All right, so we have 3 receivers to the right. We have our tight end, Thomas, to the left, kind of spread out for the solo tight end. J.D. McKissick in the backfield, Haskins in the shotgun. All right. You have the outside receiver running a 5-yard whip route. So it's kind of a fake in, go into an out route. You have the inside receiver running a seam, so just going deep. And sorry, that's the middle receiver. The inside receiver runs a deep out, basically on the end zone line, trying to get into the end zone, so he's running across the end zone line. You have a backside corner post for Thomas, who he ends up running a corner and he kind of sits inside the zone, so he doesn't run the entire post. He tries to find an open space in the zone. So that's what he runs. And then you have J.D. McKissick just being your safety valve running in the flats. All right? The Ravens on defense rush 3, and then they put 8 guys either in the end zone or within 3 yards of the end zone. They completely put a wall on the end zone. That was their goal for the play, which makes sense because you're at 4th and 13. You just don't want to give up a touchdown.
And you don't have to worry about deep.
Correct. Right? So, now, what Haskins sees is a wide open whip route. Okay? This whip route was super open. So I'm assuming in his head, he was thinking, maybe I can get him in stride, and maybe he can beat the defense to the pylon, right? Well, as soon as he cocked back to throw, because the corner on that side stayed with the seam route, he backed up into the end zone to make sure the seam didn't get open. The outside linebacker also backed up to the end zone to stay with the seam. So they all left the whip route wide open. But as soon as he cocked back to throw, the middle linebacker, the outside linebacker I just talked about, and the corner all broke on the whip route. Haskins only held the ball for 3 seconds on a 3-man rush. He didn't have any pressure in his face. The O-line did fine. They had a pocket for him. So he was hoping that this receiver could maybe beat him to the pylon. But as soon as he pump faked it, they jumped on it. Buy yourself time. This is what the greats would do in this situation. When you need a touchdown, you see that, okay, because Haskins defenders will be like, oh, well, they're defending the end zone. There is nobody in the open. If he throws it, he's going to throw a pick, right? Buy yourself time, pump fake it, make the defense move, and then maybe you find the open seam route in the back of the end zone. Terry McLaurin maybe comes right behind that corner that's jumping on the whip route. Maybe he gets open in the corner of the end zone. Also, if you throw the deep ball into the end zone, maybe you get a pass interference call. Maybe they come down with the touchdown anyway, even though if it's a contested catch. So you have,
and maybe you don't stare down the receiver you're going to throw it to also.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you see a wide open whip route, you know that you need to get a touchdown here, because throwing that whip route for 5 yards is as good as an interception. They have the same result. The other team gets the ball. Pump fake it. Try to get the defense to move. Make them move with your eyes. Look around the defense. Try to look them off. Buy more time as far as moving around in the pocket. As I said, he had a nice wide open pocket. They were only rushing 3. He could have stepped up, moved right, moved left. He could have basically moved anywhere he wanted to because he had the time to do so. Yep. He needs to make a play to the end zone.
Another example of situational football and understanding. They're rushing 3. I've got time. I don't need to hurry. And the other thing is, which is not the situational part of it, but to look, you see what you know what you think you have. So look at something else and sell that to get those guys breaking in a different way. But I think he stares down. He gets this tunnel vision of, oh, look, the whip route. Here, here it is. And then, of course, the defense. That's why 3 guys broke on it as soon as he cocked his arm, because they knew where he was looking.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, because you cannot throw that ball within 3 seconds. 10 yards away, 10 yards away from the end zone. If your receiver catches it 3-4 yards away from the end zone and he had that much space, that's a potential touchdown.
Right.
Like, okay, you're trying to get it towards the end zone, but you're basically throwing it at the 10-yard line. There's no way that he's going to beat the defense to this pylon.
And I'm pretty sure that was the crowded side of the end zone too. So there was a lot of beyond the 3 that jumped. There was a lot of other defenders there that were capable of converging before you made it 10 yards.
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean, that was the 3 receiver side. So yeah, you had a lot more defenders on that side because Logan Thomas was the lone receiver on the backside. So that was my breakdown of that play. I agree with the criticism as far as he needed to do something other than just throw that whip route. It's maybe he does throw a pick, maybe he does throw an incompletion, maybe something bad happens, but a 5-yard route is the same as an interception. It's the same thing.
Yep. And and this is not necessarily related. Right.
Because he didn't even have a chance.
Right. But this is not necessarily related. Well, it's not related to that specifically, but the creativity in watching Pat Mahomes throw that shovel pass where Tyreek Hill gets all the defense going wide. He sells it that everything's going wide. And then at the last second, he just shovels it to the running back right in the middle. And the whole defense is running this way. And he just does a little shovel pass, 3-4 yards. The guy's going the opposite direction. and just things like that where it's doesn't maybe it's just that Mahomes is that good, he makes it look easy, but I think he's a product, and again, great quarterback, not selling him short in any way, shape, or form, but any quarterback in the league could have made that play easily. And that's
He threw the ball 4 yards. I mean, I can throw the ball 4 yards.
right.
I can
and
look this way, pump that, and then throw it 4 yards. I can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And to throw and to have, and I know this is last week, so I apologize. It's a week because it was against the Ravens, and I'm sure it infuriated the Ravens when it happened, and the defensive coordinator was probably beside himself. But it's also this evolution, or not evolution. What's the word I'm looking for? Scott Turner, and I know right now they're saying he can't throw. He doesn't. He feels like he's limited in what he can do. Mainly or a lot to do with the offensive linemen and the weapons he has, but I don't see that creativity a lot of the times in what he calls. It's just, and again, maybe it'll evolve as it goes on, but I'm tired of seeing so many plays that run off tackle to where there seems to be 8 guys on the defense are right there. Do you see it?
Leaves from the Rhine says, I disagree, John. Haskins would overthrow it.
or throw it in the dirt, one or the other. He'd have been like, oh, down on the ground. So that was good. Kudos on that one. That was a good one. I liked it.
Fantastic. Well done.
Drink.
All right. Well, if there's anything else you want to add, speak now or forever hold your peace. We are going to move on to the next topic. For real this time, not just kidding.
For real, for real?
For real, for real. We're going to go check out the NFC East update if there's nothing else you're going to add. You good?
No, I want to, and I don't have to add it before this, but I want to discuss the next 5 games, but we can do that after you go through this.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about, did you have anything to add on the last game that we just had? The Ravens game.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not talking about throughout the show. Yeah, you could add more, obviously. But, all right, we are putting the Ravens game behind us. Okay, that was a tough one. It stinks. And I agree with Dad that we played a little bit better than I thought. I honestly was not going to be surprised if we put 0 points up on the board. Okay, if we laid a goose egg, I would not have been surprised. Okay, that's a really good team.
340 yards against the Ravens, not too bad.
No. All right, let's go around the NFC East update real quick. Okay, so now for real, Dallas loses to the Browns in a shootout, 49-38. Spoiled Infant Gaming says Redskins and Saints can both have a nice cup of tea watching the Cowboys and Falcons fall on their face. Yes, we can. And that's exactly what the Cowboys did. They actually went up 14-7 in this game, and in the second and third quarter, they were outscored 34-0 in 2 quarters of football. Ouch.
I kept full disclosure, I was not watching the game, but it was amazing to me in the fourth quarter how many points they scored to get back in the game.
Yeah, no, Dak Prescott's in a situation where he can't fail. His stats are going to look amazing this year because of all the weapons. I say it each and every day or each and every week. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. They have the nice young tight end in Schultz. They have Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, one of the best offensive lines in football. His offensive stats should look good this year. If he only averages 220, 230 yards a game with this offense, that's a huge red flag, But no, he had 502 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have an interception. So his stats looked fantastic because they have the offense to do it. But right now, defensively, they're a big problem defensively.
Well, and I want to know how many yards, and I know you don't have this stat offhand. I don't know if I can find it, but I want to know how many yards Dallas's offense got in the fourth quarter because they were down, and I'd have to see the box score to know exactly how it went. But going into the fourth quarter, I'll have it here in a second. But it was like, okay, the Browns are blowing them out, and then it was, I think they had 42 at that point. And it was 42-20 something. And yeah, so
41, 41-14 going into the fourth.
Yeah, Dallas scored 24 points in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like I said, I look at it through the third quarter and it's
And
like,
got 3 2-point conversions. They converted all of them. Zeke got one,
Right.
Dak Prescott ran for one, and Amari Cooper ran for one. They ran for all their 2-point conversions and got them. So, yeah, they scored 24 points on 3 touchdowns. And they scored the first one with 12.5 to go in the fourth, 6.5 to go for the second one, and about 3.5 to go. So, in a span of 9 minutes, they put 24 points on the board.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I look over and it's like, 41-14. Browns are kicking their butt, and then I'm watching the ticker going across at the bottom, and it's like, now it's 41-22. Now it's 41-30. Now it's 40. I think they get to 41-38 before they put the last touchdown on. I'm not sure.
Yes, they did. They were down 41-38, and Odell Beckham ran it for a 50-yard run, and they also got the 2-point conversion. So yeah.
Yeah, but and that's the other thing I wanted to say is it was like there was like 4 minutes left to go in the game. It was 41-30, and then the next thing I know, it's 41-38, and I swear there was like 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. It seemed like no time ran off the clock. It was so. If they could figure out how to play in the fourth quarter or the rest of the game like they do in the fourth quarter, they'd be hard to beat. Maybe it's just to prevent.
Still am standing on that they're not a bad team. Okay. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this win probability, Dad. Look at this. Within the what is this? This is the third quarter with 11 minutes and 39 seconds. Actually, let's go a little bit ahead. Here we go. 10 minutes and 22 seconds. They were at 99% projected to win. Win probability. 99%. After that comeback with 3 minutes and 42 seconds, they became only a 60% chance of winning. Because of all those touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was only a 3-point game with 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
So you were talking. I'm sorry. When you said they, I thought you were talking about the Cowboys. You were talking about the Browns. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there were only a 60% chance of winning with 3.5 minutes to go. Yeah, they were in trouble. The lucky Odell Beckham got it. All right.
Hey, and if Atlanta, sorry, before you move on, if Atlanta wasn't extremely afraid to touch an onside kick,
Cowboys would be 0-4. Yeah, they'd be 0-4. It's very
Jerry
true.
must love that.
All right, Eagles get their first win against a banged up, which is an understatement, 49ers team. Okay, they are just absolutely dismantled by injuries. They win 25-20. Neither the Eagles or 49ers really looked good. Nothing really came from it. They didn't have a real good run game. Carson Wentz didn't look particularly good. And 49ers looked even worse because they had, Nick Mullins at quarterback and C.J. Beathard. So, not good. But hey, that puts the Eagles at 1-2-1. They now currently lead the division by a half game. And what really sucks is that the fact that they tied against Cincinnati, our win over the Eagles is now moot. Right. We don't have a tiebreaker now because they have they have the tiebreaker. So now we have to win one more game than them. So our tiebreaker is completely dismantled. But not that I expect us to do a lot this year anyway.
Or in the words of Emmitt Smith, it's debacled.
Debacled, yeah, debacled. All right. And then last and certainly least, the Giants lost to our next opponent, Rams, 17-9. They are now 0-4, and they just look absolutely terrible. No Saquon Barkley. No nothing. No hope for the Giants right now. They are just bad. So.
Yeah, but I was watching that game, and I have to see what the spread was on my pick'em.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think the Rams covered.
They only won by 8, so was it a 9.5 point spread?
That's what I'm looking it up right now. I thought it might have even been double digits because they were talking about how bad the Giants were, and so I picked
the Rams.
The Rams, thank you. I was mental breakdown, but yeah, let me say I want to say it was double digits, but so. As bad as they are, I was going to say maybe, but I wouldn't even say maybe. I would say as bad as they are, then is it me or are the Rams not that good?
So
How did
we're going to
they?
go into that. We're going to go into that a little bit.
Okay.
Because that's our next opponent.
All right. Go ahead. Start to move on because I'm going to have it in a second. Where is it? Why can't I never find the right spread? Yeah, they were favored by 13.
Wow. Wow, it only won by 8. Fair enough. All right, let's move on to the Rams. Speaking of them, they are currently 3-1 and are 3-0 against the NFC East. So they had 4 games out of the first 5 against the NFC East, us being number 4. Notable players offensively, they have Jared Goff, who is currently averaging 265 yards a game, has 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His rating is now 108.1, which is good for 8th in the NFL right now. So he's playing decent over there with Jared Goff. They're currently 7th in rushing per game, behind some young running backs, Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson. They're looking decent, especially Malcolm Brown. I like how he ran in the first game against the Cowboys. But Darrell Henderson's come on the last 2 weeks, so they have a good young running back duo. Wide receiver, they have an awesome duo, in Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is an awesome slot guy, kind of a Wes Welker type, but they put him on end arounds. He can do a little bit of everything, so Cooper Kupp's really good, and Robert Woods is kind of their deep threat that is a pretty decent receiver.
I just like his name, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Selena likes it too. She has him on as her fantasy team, and he did really well. So,
what's the Chupacabra? Is the Bigfoot, the Latin American equivalent of Bigfoot? So it reminded me of Chupacabra.
There you go.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to digress.
Lastly, on offense, they have a dangerous tight end in Tyler Higbee. Higbee can do some real damage on you if you let him. He's a really good tight end. So similar type, I would compare him to like a Mark Andrews, the one that we just played against, who scored 2 touchdowns on us. So Tyler Higbee, pretty dangerous tight end. Defensively, they have arguably the best player in the league in Aaron Donald. He currently has 3.5 sacks. So,
sorry, we have the best player in the league. He's just not playing right now.
Well, hopefully one day, but he is not Aaron Donald right now. He's a defensive end for them. And they have Michael Brockers on the other side of defensive end, another really good one. He has, I believe, 2.5 sacks on the year so far. Jalen Ramsey is a fantastic corner that they got from Jacksonville. Really, really good corner that they paid. And defensively, they've been pretty good minus the Buffalo game. Granted, they've played, some questionable teams in the Eagles and the Giants, but, they did a decent job against Dallas and the offense that I just talked about that's really, really good. So defensively, I think there's some holes. I don't think that they're all that great on defense, but they've played pretty well so far. So, and they have Aaron Donald, so they're going to be pretty darn good. All right.
Well, and the Rams' forte has always been, or not always, but in the recent past, has been their defense. Right? I mean, isn't that what they've leaned on?
Well, defensively, they've been pretty darn good. That's for sure. But they're obviously also known for Sean McVay's young prodigy offense that can do a lot of different things. They'll put a lot of different looks out there for you, a lot of motions.
Yeah, he's a motion guy too. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right, you ready to go into the top 5 things we need to do to beat the Rams?
This is your opinion, right?
This is my facts.
Well, you said we, and I'm like, I don't know if
Confidence is key.
I'll listen.
Confidence is key.
Okay.
All right. 5 things we need to do to beat the Los Angeles Rams. Number 1, we just talked about Sean McVay. He will throw a lot of different looks at you. So number 1, we have to stay disciplined on defense. He will put a lot of motions out there on you. He will do a lot of end arounds on you. He'll do a lot of fake screens this way, screens that way. He will do a lot to try to confuse you on defense. You have to stay disciplined.
And he likes to do that play where either a receiver or somebody is at the quarterback as he's snapping the ball. But through motion, so it's like he has a running back he has a receiver coming through there, and then he can pass. So it's kind of like a double play action where he's got two different possibilities. You got a guy streaking across the field right as he snaps the ball. Does he hand it to him? Does he hand it to the running back, or does he skip them both and throw it? So I think that play that he does is very, very hard to defend.
Yep.
But go ahead.
Yep, got to stay disciplined. That's number one. Number two, you have to double team Aaron Donald. This guy will, like, you just can't let him disrupt your backfield. You have to put some chips on him with running backs and tight ends and put two linemen on him. I don't care. Do not let that guy disrupt your backfield, because if you even for one play think about putting him on one-on-one, he will destroy you. Okay? He does not play around. Please double team Aaron Donald for a majority of the game. Run away from him.
Run away from him.
Yeah, just, yeah, exactly. Like
we said it, thought the same thing.
Do not let Aaron Donald destroy you, because he will if you let him.
If he is on this side, run this way.
Yes, exactly. Number three, I think we need to move Terry McLaurin around the field. Okay, put him in a lot of different looks. Try to get Jalen Ramsey off of him, because Jalen Ramsey's a good corner. And I'm not trying to say that I think Jalen Ramsey can shut him down. My main thing is I think Terry McLaurin can do some serious damage against their other corners. Okay, so if he can get some one-on-one matchup potential on these other corners they have, Terry McLaurin can have a huge day and maybe get a play-action deep pass if Jalen Ramsey's not on him. So I'd like to see a lot of different looks coming from Terry McLaurin, put him in a lot of different places in a lot of different situations.
Would they consider putting him in the slot?
Yeah, he was on the slot in that that 4th and 13 play I was talking about. He was the inside man running the deep out. Right. So I think they do move him around, but I think that that's going to be a key this week, is making sure that Terry McLaurin is in situations where he's not always being covered by Jalen Ramsey, who I think could do a pretty good job against anybody, because Jalen Ramsey's that kind of corner. But I think, and I still think that Terry McLaurin can catch some passes against him, but I think, as I said already, but I think he could do real damage against these other corners they have. So I'd like to see
we just have Gandy Golden catch like 9 passes for 120 yards, and then he moves over to Gandy Golden because now he becomes the main threat, and then Terry just explodes. No,
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's for sure. All right, number 4. A lot of people have been saying it on Facebook, and there's a reason we haven't been doing this, but we have to get the run game going. All right, I really like Antonio Gibson. I like J.D. McKissick, and I don't mind Peyton Barber. We have a pretty decent run game, and we haven't been able to get it going because we get behind so quickly. 17-0 the first 2 weeks. We had 17-7 against the Browns, and last week it was 14-0. And then we're down in the second half, and we kind of have to abandon the run and try to throw to get back into the game. In this first half, I want to see a good running game. I want to see Antonio Gibson getting either 100 or close to 100 yards this week, where maybe he gets the ball 15, 20 times next week and tries to reach that 200 mark. Or excuse me, 100.
Okay, well, and bear with me for a second, but let's think about and analyze what you just said. It's because we get down too quick, too early. Well, if we take advantage of Gibson in our first or second possession and try to work the running game, and I know you can't, like, they'll key on the run, then you're in trouble. But I think it goes back to what I was saying about too many plays where it's straight up the middle, straight into what I feel like the running back runs into a place where you got 4 offensive linemen and like 6 defensive guys all piled up there, and they go nowhere. So is that maybe Scott Turner and the lack of creativity early on to give misdirection runs where you're throwing the defense off, as opposed to have Dwayne hand it off and run off tackle into a pile of players and get, if you're lucky, get half a yard, but more times than not, you're losing half a yard. So why is it that running game or is what you're saying? Well, no, I shouldn't say that because I know it happens later in the game. But what stops Gibson and the other running backs from gaining yards on their first possession, because they don't seem to be able to do it?
So, first off, actually, Antonio Gibson did not look bad early in the game. we just had that fumble in the second drive. As I said, we decided not to block Matthew Judon on the first drive, where we actually drove the ball down into their territory. So
you're right. The Ravens, they were moving the ball. You're correct.
Yeah. So, but honestly, why I don't necessarily think it's a lack of creativity on Scott Turner as much as it's probably, and this is, I would have to go back and actually watch and see what the heck I actually think. But I think just in general is usually a defense tries to take away something and let you beat them somewhere else. And I think the let you beat them right now is let them beat you with Haskins.
Yeah.
Make Haskins be the one to beat you. Don't let them run it down your throat.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't let the run game and bail out Haskins with letting them run the ball for 150 or 200 yards on the day, and all of a sudden you win the game because you didn't need to rely on Haskins. So having because there was one play, who was it? Or I don't remember when it was, against the Ravens. And we run a fake end around. And I wish we handed it off because there may have been real potential if we gave it to the end around. But Haskins gave it to Gibson, and Patrick Queen is 2 yards in the backfield, the middle linebacker. And I don't think he was really running in a blitz. I just think he was reading the keys and saw that he thought it was going to be a run play. And he is inside. He's like a yard in our backfield before Gibson has any chance to do anything. And it's like, if we hand that off to the end around, he's probably off to the races because the linebackers were eating us up on that particular play. Where we are going to get Antonio Gibson. Probably because Antonio Gibson was kind of gashing him in the first half. So they're like, you know what, let's shut him down.
So do you think that was a called play, or does Haskins have any input on whether or not to do that end around? Is there any read involved that he reads that says I either give the end around or I give it to Gibson, or is it this is a fake end around, give it to Gibson, there's no choice in his mind?
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I was curious.
In the NFL, typically the quarterback can do a lot. But in this offense, I would question if Haskins has a lot of choice right now. I think his job is to run the offense. So
you're saying that Scott Turner said, here's the play, fake the end around, give it to Gibson. There was just execute it, no thinking. Okay, that's
what I would believe.
Yeah,
that's what I would tend to believe. So
I would agree.
The last one is we have another guy that's kind of stationary. Let's get to him. Get to Jared Goff. Make them make mistakes. Put some pressure. Try to get some turnovers. Try to get maybe even a sack fumble on Jared Goff. The Rams' offensive line is decent, but I think we have the defensive line to get some pressure on this Jared Goff. And I said this 2 weeks ago with Baker Mayfield, and we did not get to him at all. Like, we put a little bit of pressure on him, but we only had one sack, I'm pretty sure, on the day. We did not do nearly enough.
More than that, but it wasn't much more than that if it was. So have you heard
almost
any
positive
updates on
it was
Chase
one.
Young?
Maybe it was two. Say that.
Yeah,
I have not heard any updates. I did not look into Chase Young.
I mean, and I agree with them taking it slow with him because we don't want this to be a nagging injury. But I was also kind of thinking that maybe they decided that we're going to give him an extra week because we're playing the Ravens. And I'll be honest with you, I said this already, that I don't think that Ron Rivera is interested or cares much about whether or not we win. I think now that the leader in the division is at 1-2-1, that he's maybe thinking, all we have to do is win a couple of games and we can be in this hunt. So he might think differently because he actually called timeouts last game, which he hadn't been doing. So I'm curious to see if maybe they just didn't keep Chase Young out an extra week out of an abundance of caution, and that maybe he comes back and he's back to in good shape. I haven't heard anything about that. I'll be curious to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I haven't heard much about that, to be honest, yet either. So, nope. I hope he's back because he's important. He's important for us already. Even I know he's a rookie, but he's a number 2 pick for a reason. He's important. So, Prediction. You want me to go first?
Oh, you can always go first. So I'll let the person that's wrong go first. Because I was right. Just for the record, my prediction was correct last week. Yours was not.
That's fine. That's fine.
Right? You said the total was going to be so bad that you didn't even want to think about it. And I don't think 31-17 was what you were thinking when you said that.
No,
so.
as I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if we scored 0. So. I didn't predict that, though. I didn't predict it. I just said I wouldn't be surprised. All right.
No, I'm sorry, but I thought you were saying that they're going to score so many points that it's going. You didn't even want to think about how many points they were going to score, so that's why you were not given a prediction.
I didn't have a prediction. I didn't have a prediction. I didn't just have a prediction in my head and not tell you guys. I didn't want to predict it.
No. You said it was.
I thought it was going to be bad. And I don't think it was really good, but at the same time, it was a little bit better than what I thought. But no, I thought it could have been an ugly I didn't want to make a prediction. I didn't make a prediction, so I'm not going to now. All I know is I didn't predict you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we got beat worse by the Browns than we did by the Ravens.
Isn't that wrong?
38-20 as opposed to 31-17.
Was it 38-20?
I thought it was up there. Maybe I'm wrong. But I thought they beat us by. I'll find that score in a second. But go ahead. So, what's your prediction this week?
34-20. So it was the same.
Oh, was it only 34-20? Okay. All right. So we were as close to the Ravens as we were to the Browns. I know you didn't expect that, but go ahead. What's your prediction?
I didn't expect it. Fair enough. All right. Here we go. I think this game is winnable. Okay, I think we can compete in this game. All right. I have it that we are going to lose 24-20, but with a chance at the end to take the lead. So it's not going to be we score. I think we're going to be right in this game. I think defensively we can stop them a little bit. I don't think their run game's all that great. I know that they're 7th right now in total yards, but I think that their run game is suspect. I think we can defend this against this run game. I think they have a couple good receivers and a really good tight end. So if we put some pressure on them, we can win this game. This game is winnable, but I predict that Sean McVay is a really, really good coach. He can win close games like this, and I think that they do end up pulling it out at the end. But we're in this game. So go ahead. Give me your Homer score prediction.
Really? So you're going to see? You're allowed to. You can give me crap too. I see how it rolls. I can give it to you, and you give it right back. It's all good. All right. So I really would like to know what Chase Young's status is, because I know he was day-to-day last week, and they said they were going to keep him out. So I didn't get the impression that it was out 3 to 4 weeks. So I'd really like to know what his status is and whether or not he's going to suit up. But I think that Dwayne Haskins takes another step, that this pressure that Ron Rivera puts on him or has been putting on him is driving him in a positive way, and that the defense steps up and shuts down Jared Goff, sacks him like 4 or 5 times, maybe has a turnover, if we're lucky, maybe 2 turnovers, and we win like 27-20.
27-20 for the good guys. As always, I always like your prediction better than mine. I always like it better than mine.
And just for the record, if I was totally Homer, I would have given you a prediction last week of the Redskins were going to beat the Ravens. And the best I could do was, I think they're going to be in the game in the second half. And so I was not like, oh, the Redskins are going to win 41-20.
Even though that's the reality, that is the Homer prediction. Okay.
But anyway, we shall see. So you're 24-20 Rams. I'm 27-20 Redskins. Or excuse me, WTF. By the way, if you notice, I have no emblem on my shirt. I tried to honor the WFT. Just went with the
burgundy.
The
burgundy color.
Yeah. So all right. So I'm marking this down on my book. So Tim is 24-20.
Mm-hmm.
Rams, and I am 27-20 WFT. So for bragging
There you go.
rights.
There you go. All right. Well,
So
there you go. All right, let's do a little before we close the show. We're just over an hour, but let's do a little bit of around the NFL. What do you think?
okay. Did we lose? Or do we have anybody that's commenting, or we don't have anybody commenting?
We haven't had any comments in a while. We still have 2 viewers, but that's okay.
They are all struck in our insight that we've left them speechless or chatless. So that's what I'm going with. But hey,
Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging around, guys.
Absolutely. All right, well, you touched on it, so we'll start with it. Houston falls to 0-4. They were playing the Vikings. The freaking Dalvin Cook has another fantastic day. Dalvin Cook ended the game with 27 carries, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wow. Adam Thielen had 8 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. You know, Kirk Cousins didn't do much. He just does what he does. But, yeah, Houston, 0-4. They are a fantastic team, honestly. I think they're a really good roster. 0-4 is a tough start, but they've played 4 really good teams. I know Vikings are 1-3, but I think Vikings have played a couple of really good teams too. Didn't they play Buffalo and the Packers?
Yeah.
And
so here's my question about this, because I honestly I didn't know much about Bill O'Brien. I mean, I knew Houston was, in the playoffs last year, that they seemed to be a good competitive team, but I learned today or yesterday in hearing about this that he is a real hard ass, that he is like old school, in your face, kind of tough guy. And when you're like that, and this is just my opinion, but when you're like that, 0-4 doesn't set well. You can lose a locker room really, really quickly when you're not, or when you're that kind of personality to them. And I'm just wondering if that didn't have something to do with it. And to your point, he screwed up a trade. I get that was one nail in the coffin.
Well, no. Okay, let me just tell you this real quick. I saw a thing on a post somewhere. I don't even remember where I saw it. Facebook, maybe. They are paying in cash this year. The cap is cap space is only like 180 something million, 190 million.
I thought it was upwards of 200, but maybe it's not that high yet. But
I don't think it's that high yet. But in cash, because of guaranteed money and different things, they are paying their roster right now $260 million this year.
Luxury tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
They also owe their next 2 first-round picks to Miami. They are out of the building phase. Okay? They have the young quarterback. He's supposed to have built his team by now. They have made trades to try to build this team around Deshaun Watson. They are now 0-4 with basically no cap and no draft stock or no draft capital.
So
he has put this team in as basically as deep as hole as you can be, minus they have a really good young quarterback. The one thing that could be worse is they have no quarterback. But they've basically put this team in a huge hole.
Well, and the bottom line,
for the next
to your point earlier, that they played 3 really good teams. If Minnesota notwithstanding, that they played 3 really good teams, and so give them a break. But yeah, from the owner's perspective, okay, I've spent through the nose. I've given you everything you've asked. You've built to the point where you're a playoff team. Now you got to take the next step. And out of the 3 quote unquote really good teams you play, you don't beat one of them. So apparently you're not in the top echelon of very good teams. And I'm not spending $260 million on a good team. I expected that you were going to take the next step, and he didn't do it. So that makes sense to me.
Yep. So that's the Bill O'Brien situation. And that was that game. Moving on. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Chargers. Did you catch any of this game?
I did. I watched some of it.
The young man, Justin Herbert, 20 for 25, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did in the game was iced on one of his interceptions, or his only interception on the day. That's unfortunate. But the young man, only 3rd game playing, and he was basically toe for toe, or whatever you call it. What's this phrase? Toe for toe? Is that the phrase?
Oh, nose to nose, or
toe and toe, toe to toe, toe to toe. There it is, toe to toe.
Toe to toe, yeah.
with Tom Brady. Tom Brady, though, showing his class. 30 for 46, 369 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He did have a pick 6 in this game, which made it very interesting. You know, it was a close game for the old man, but still, 5 touchdowns at age, 41,000? I don't know. What's his old, how old is he? Like 40 million?
42, 43. Yeah. Well, and also, I don't know if you watched Belichick last night put his rookie, I think he was a rookie or a young quarterback in for, I'm sorry, his name escapes me, the bald-headed guy that was...
Stidham. Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
Brian Hoyer was the one that started, yeah.
Yeah, and they put in and I'll say rookie, I don't know if he's first year or not,
Second
but
year, I think.
he went in, drove down, and got a touchdown on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So,
yep. And also, they talk about Haskins not having a running game. You ready for this? Herbert had 5 carries for 14 yards. So we'll put that aside because that's Herbert, right? That's the quarterback.
Was he leading the rushing?
He was. He had the most yards at 14. Eckler, 2 carries for 12 yards.
Hey, that's 6 yards a carry. That's good.
Yep, fantastic. Eckler did get hurt. Justin Jackson, 6 carries for 9 yards. Now we're down to 1.5 yards a carry.
Hall of Fame numbers there.
Somehow it gets worse. Joshua Kelly, 9 carries for 7 yards. Less than 1 yard a carry.
Is that not good?
But he still puts up 20 for 25, 290 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Okay, it's possible, guys. You don't need a run game, all right? You don't need a run game, okay? It helps to have a run game, but you don't need a run game to have a good time as a quarterback.
I think the WFT has a run game. They just have to figure out how to use it.
Or not go down by so much so they can use it. That's another thing.
Well, either that or use it earlier on to where you help. You know, like I said, it's a start.
Yeah.
They had the ball for more time than the Ravens did in the first half. And I can guarantee you that last week, if I had predicted that, you would have laughed at me. If I'd have said the Redskins will have more possession, their offense will possess the ball more than the Ravens in the first half, you would have scoffed at me. I'm not saying I would have predicted it. I'm just saying that's
does it really matter when you're down 21-10? No, it's all good. No. All right.
Apparently it does, because if you didn't win the possession, then you might the possession game, you might be down 35-10.
That's true. Saints, Lions were an interesting one. Lions, Falcons are taking all the heat for being the team that, is failing in the fourth quarter. The Lions should be right there with them, okay? Because the Lions were the ones that first blew the lead to the Bears in week 1. This one, they went up 14-0, and let me just double check this real quick because I'm pretty sure this was the case. And it's 100% the case. This is exactly what I thought. They went up 14-0. By halftime, they were down 28-14.
Yeah.
Freaking Saints
Not too good.
Came roaring back. And Breeze had an okay day, 19 for 25, 246 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But Alvin Kamara, man, just a man amongst boys. 19 carries, 83 yards, another touchdown. He's amazing. Did you watch any of that Saints-Packers game 2 weeks ago on Sunday night?
Yeah, I thought I watched some.
I will forever remember that play where Alvin Kamara catches a screen pass, right? Breaks through the first round of blocks and is jogging down the field. Jogging. 75-yard touchdown. Just makes a couple more people, let a block come here, lead there. Oh, whatever, I just do this for fun. Who cares? 75-yard touchdown, like he's just having a stroll through, Central Park or whatever. Just easy peasy. But no, he has another good day. 19 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. And Matt Stafford, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns on 17 of 31. Not good enough, man. Adrian Peterson, 11 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown. I'm so glad we don't have him anymore. Just kidding. It's nothing really spectacular coming from Adrian Peterson. So, very, very interesting game. But yeah, the Falcons are taking all the heat, probably because they're 0-4. Detroit does have a win last week against Arizona, which is good for them. But they've blown some leads as well. Dolphins played the Seahawks pretty tight. Did you catch any of this game? Russell Wilson,
watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, 24 for 34, 360 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception. Carson had 2 touchdowns like within the first 5 minutes of the game or something like that. They punched it in real quick. But Fitzpatrick didn't have a great day, but they were in this game the whole way through, and I thought this was another game that just Seahawks were just going to run away with it. But they end up only winning 31-23, and for the most part, they stayed in it the whole game.
Yep.
Let's see here. What else we got around the NFL? Computer's going slow, sorry.
Although we are getting late, too, so keep that in mind.
Well, let's see. This is probably... this one just surprised me. Yeah, we can end it here. That's fine. Is the Panthers beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals, after beating us, are kind of falling apart. They lost to now the Lions and the Panthers. 2 games I thought they would have won easily. And now they lost to the Panthers 31-21. The Panthers are now 1-2 in a row.
By the way, I picked the Panthers this week, just so you know.
Did you really? Good for you. I thought the freaking Cardinals were a good team, but now the Panthers beat the Chargers and the Cardinals back-to-back weeks. So all of a sudden, I think the Cardinals are going to win the Super Bowl.
Of course, I also picked the
Panthers.
Jaguars. So
Just kidding.
I have good and bad choices.
I have good and bad choices. Awesome. All right. Well, yes, that is a show. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thanks for your comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And until next time, see ya.
Peace.